Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. Thought I would share a conversation I had with a friend of mine recently. He's a buddy that I've known for a long time. We've hunted together and stuff, you know, and we got to talking about guns, and he started asking me about a pistol, and I asked him what he wanted to use it for, and he said, well, I want to buy a gun for home defense. And I said, okay. And I said, well, you know, you got shotgun, that would be my preferred weapon. He goes, yeah, I know, but I want a handgun. I said, okay. I said, well, daggone, man, I don't believe you don't have any handguns? He goes, well, I do have one. I have a Colt Trooper that I got from my father when he passed away. I said, a Colt Trooper? He goes, yeah, it's 357 Magnum. I said, well, man, that's a good gun to have for home defense. He said, no, not really. It's a revolver. You know, and God bless him, he was serious. He was being sincere when he said that. And I guess if you read the gun magazines and watch the shows on TV or even the videos here on YouTube, you might be left to believe that, hey, if I don't have the latest M4 or a super tuned 1911 or the latest whiz bang polymer wonder, I'm not adequately armed. And that's not true at all. That's not true at all. You know, for many, many decades, matter of fact, until probably the late 80s and early 90s, the preferred weapon for law enforcement was a double-action revolver like this one right here. You know, here in 2010, still the #1 handgun bought for people with concealed weapons permits is a .38 snub nose. Okay, and there's good reason for that. It's simple to use. It's rugged, reliable, and it's effective. Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. Here's a Smith & Wesson Model 10, and this is a K-frame, and it has a 4-inch barrel and fixed sights, and it's a double-action revolver. Okay, now what does double action mean? Well, that basically means is there's two modes or two ways you can fire this weapon. Let's take a look. Make sure that this is safe to use, safe to handle. Okay, one of those methods of firing this weapon is pulling the trigger, which rotates the cylinder, cocks the hammer, and it fires. Okay, simply like this. Okay, another a mode that you can use to fire this weapon is to pull the hammer back until it locks. Okay, and that reduces the trigger travel in order to fire the weapon, and it also usually reduces the amount of pressure needed to fire the weapon. Now, all it takes is just a little bit on there. It doesn't move very far, and the gun fires. Okay, so that's basically double action. Now, this gun is also a .38 Special, and .38 Special has been maligned for many years as being ineffective as a man stopper. But quite frankly, I think a lot of that has to do with the ammunition. You know, early ammunition was basically just a lead round nose bullet, right? And it didn't expand well, and it wasn't very effective at being a man stopper. That's why a lot of older guns are in big calibers. You know, FBI did a lot of research and development, and they came up with what we know as the FBI load, which is a 158 grain lead hollow point. Okay, and it expanded a little bit more, and therefore made the .38 a little bit more effective, I should say. You know, we have modern bullets today that really up the ante on the effectiveness of the .38 Special. You have bullets like this right here. This is a jacketed hollow point. Okay, and you know, the jacketed hollow points really changed the whole game and really made the .38 Special an effective round. You know, but sometimes there's some problems with that. You know, the copper can separate from the lead, and if they're not together, they don't have the mass to get the penetration needed to provide a wound serious enough to stop someone. And we have moved further with our modern ammunition, and here's a representation of that. This is a Spear Gold Dot, okay, and it uses bonded technology, and basically the copper cannot separate from the lead. And it's also designed to have uniform expansion. So, you know, this is very good ammunition. And a .38 Special with good ammunition, modern self-defense ammunition, is a very viable defensive tool. But you know, some people go, yeah, but you know what, I want that Glock, I want that SIG, I want that HK. And you know, there are good guns, and I own several of those guns, and I like them a lot. But there's something about a revolver. Well, one thing, hey, you know what, there's a ton of them out there, and you may already have one. Okay, you may have inherited one from your father or grandfather, or maybe your uncle has given you one, or you know, there's a ton of these that are on the market from police trade-ins, and they're good solid weapons. Okay, and I had another person tell me, well, you know what, you only get 6 rounds on a revolver. That's not enough. Sure it is. In most situations, 6 rounds is perfectly adequate. You know what's more important than how many rounds you have in your gun? Is being proficient with that firearm. If this is what you have, buy some ammo. Get out there and shoot that gun. Increase your proficiency with that gun. Get some quality instruction, you know, on how to make quick reloads. You know, when to use the gun, when not to use the gun, how to effectively shoot the weapon. That will carry you a lot further than just buying the latest whiz-bang wonder weapon. Okay, the weapon doesn't win the fights. It's an individual and his proficiency with that, or her proficiency with that weapon. That's what wins fights. That's what you need to keep in mind. All right, well, that's about all I have, and if you have any questions or comments, I'll be glad to entertain them. Thank you again. Bye.